Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope everyone out there is doing well. This is going to be the forecast here for November 4th, 2025, Tuesday. Interesting day. Probably going to be a very interesting day. Today we're going to have Mars come into Sagittarius, and immediately when Mars comes into Sagittarius, it's going to oppose Uranus retrograde in Gemini, which can be quite disruptive. And also this moon's going to come into Taurus, and it's going to make it square to Pluto in Aquarius, which can be intense. So we got disruptive energy and sort of intensity at the same time, all brewing and peaking to this full moon tomorrow. So let's go ahead and switch over here and let's go deeper into this. All right, so here we have it. Here goes this Mars here in Sagittarius, leaving Scorpio, right? Coming into Sag. I like this. It's a bit of a vibe change. We go from fixed water to mutable fire. And so fire, it brings clarity and decisiveness. Also, it brings in more power and more energy. If you think about fire, if you were to light a fire in the dark, you can suddenly see, right? It illuminates things. So it brings clarity. And through clarity, it brings definition. So it brings decisiveness. And also fire's energy, energy's power. Mars deals with strength. So combine that together. That's what we have here. But also Sagittarius deals with, it's this seeking of external meaning, right? Pursuing things that we truly believe in, like acting in accordance to our beliefs. It's also this thirst to want to explore, to want to know. So you could be seeking out higher understanding or seeking out higher knowledge, right? Really trying to find a philosophy that could guide your actions with Mars being in Sag. Or really embodying your own philosophy when it comes to how you pursue things with Mars. And I'm going to touch base really quickly on this moon in Taurus, and then we'll hop into this opposition to Uranus, because there's some disruptive energy that could manifest here, or it could be restlessness. But this moon will come into Taurus. Now, the moon in Taurus is exalted, so it can ground our emotions. But with this moon being in Taurus, it's also coming into its sign, and then it's going to square this Pluto here in Aquarius, which can bring up sort of intense emotions or feelings and things that were buried all coming up to the surface with the disruptive Mars opposition to Uranus. But this moon being in Taurus, it's more fixated on stability, money, resources, our values, comfort, pleasure. But this Mars here in Sagittarius that's opposing Uranus here in Gemini, definitely got to be conscious of this energy. I'm just going to be real with you. Definitely got to be conscious of this energy, because unconsciously how this can manifest is you feeling irritable or noticing irritability in other people, or you being overreactive or noticing other people being overreactive. It can lead to like just being compulsive as well, or just doing irrational things with not a lot of thinking behind it. It's just like sudden. So I would pay attention to that, be conscious of that energy, whether it's with yourself or other people, right? Because the way this could look is the way this can manifest like unconsciously is like it could be like a sudden breakup, or suddenly quitting a job, or suddenly quitting a project, or just suddenly like just doing something unexpected, and it just sort of comes out of nowhere. And you're wondering like, what the heck? Right? You can notice that from other people, or that could manifest through you too, right? So it's just, you just got to pay attention, right? Like the how this sort of comes up unconsciously. Because the conscious expression of Mars opposed Uranus would be that Uranus is that planet that it wants to innovate. It wants to liberate. It wants to update the conventional ways in which we've been doing things. And so Uranus is that planet, like I always say. If you watch me on my tarot channel, I say it on here too, though, but Uranus is a planet. It's like, it's that spontaneous urge. You want a new experience. It's like you're tired of doing the same thing over and over. So you can take this energy consciously and find a grounded way to create a breakthrough for yourself, right? Or find a way how you can separate yourself from the old ways of doing things and seek out better ways of doing things, like upgrading things, updating things. This is about innovating, but innovating in a wise way, not an impulsive, irrational way, just because you're just frustrated and tired and irritable and you just want quick change, right? You gotta be conscious of that. So this will be good to, like, it could be upgrading or updating your routines, or it can even be refining your beliefs, updating your beliefs, right? Sagittarius deals with our beliefs. It deals with our philosophy. But this is about moving with intelligence. Mars opposed Uranus. Like acting intelligently. Right. And this energy does sort of provokes like wanting to do something, but you have to really make sure that it's aligned. Right. And not just coming from a place of, I mean, the best word that I have for it is it's like, make sure that it's aligned, not coming from a place of just being compulsive, right? Or impulsive, if you want to say. But this moon here in Taurus is going to square over at pretty much at the exact same, I mean, this is happening with this Mars opposed Uranus. So this moon squaring Pluto, this can definitely bring up intense emotions, right? Pluto wants to dig down, get to the bottom of the surface, and it wants to transform things, right? And so this moon squaring it is us kind of feeling that emotionally, and it can bring up like fear, or it can bring up intense emotions. It could also bring up, with that square to Pluto, like jealousy, fear, control issues, power struggles. Like this is where anxiety can spike a lot because of that Mars too. That's opposite that Uranus. Or this can be like emotionally shutting down or disconnecting from people. Right, withdrawing. Also, this can bring up like a lot of obsessive thinking, specifically with that Mars opposed Uranus, and then that moon that squares Pluto, like moon square Pluto can be an obsessiveness, right? Because Pluto it's very deliberate. It wants transformation, and it's gonna do its job, right? It's gonna bring transformation, so that can manifest as like obsession. So like be aware of that, whether it's within inside yourself or other people. But the best thing you can do, like the way you can consciously use this energy with that moon square Pluto, is don't try to control things or manipulate things. It's about just being aware with what is coming up emotionally and being patient and working with that energy to get down to the bottom of the surface of it and then transmute it, transform it. Right? Pluto does deal with the shadow. It's gonna unbury things, right? It's gonna dig things up. And so it can be, it's like when we go deep into something emotionally that's buried, or if we're dealing with intense emotions, like it can be, like it can make us anxious, or it can bring up fear. But what you resist persists, and what you look at disappears. So if you're just conscious in regards to, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is what's being brought up at this time, let me be patient with this, let me work through this, let me really get down to the bottom of this, let me not get triggered by this. This can bring up a lot of triggers, a lot of emotional triggers. It could be you, other people. This will be the day of sort of the unexpected, like just people acting out of pocket, or something's going on over there, or just, you hear about this or you see that, and it's just like, what is going on? So I would be aware of that. That's really all the the exact transits here that are happening for the day. This moon, I mean, this moon being in Taurus tomorrow, we got the full moon, right? But this moon being in Taurus, and the moon being in Taurus it's exalted there, so it can really ground our emotions and bring in just more stability and grounding with this Mars opposition that is happening to Uranus, but that moon is squaring Pluto right away. And so it's like trying to find that grounding and that stability, but having to deal with things that need to be dealt with and make adjustments and find new innovative ways forward while remaining grounded, while keeping your stability without, losing control of everything or things spiraling out of control. And I always say with Uranus, it's like expect the unexpected, because you can never predict Uranus. You can't predict it. So that Mars opposition to Uranus is, it's like expect the unexpected, and you're just going to have to improvise, adapt, overcome. Try not to allow yourself to get triggered if things unexpectedly happen that feel quite triggering. Don't allow yourself to be controlled by those triggers. Because even with this Mars here that's opposing Uranus, it's like, yeah, you can have breakthroughs and innovate and find a better approach to things. But because it's an opposition, it's a confrontation. It's going to be challenging. So you're going to have to really have conscious awareness about how you're moving, and moving with morality, Mars being in Sag, right? But not being too stubborn and selfish when it comes to just holding on to some type of belief that maybe does need to be refined and upgraded based on truth, right? With this Uranus being in Gemini. But the whole experience of it is to learn, to grow and evolve, right? So that way your beliefs are actually rooted in truth and accuracy, right? Being rooted in truth and accuracy. Because otherwise you would just be operating off a false belief that's rooted in lies, if that makes sense. So that's what we have here for the day. And yes, it's definitely going to be an interesting day. All right. Otherwise than that, I'll see you and I'll talk to you in the next video.